Good morning. Happy Monday. Let's get this week started. Slow waking up this morning. This is one of my wake up slow mornings. Oh, you ever have those? Wake up, eyes all watery. There's like part of you that's ready to wake up, and then the other part of you is not ready. You know, it's like my body's ready to wake up, and my brain's not. That's the way it feels. Best way I can describe it. So I figure I'll hop on here. This helps me wake up. This helps me. Y'all help me, man. I'll be reading through the comments, and sometimes y'all ask questions to get my brain working, you know. But anyway, yeah. As soon as my eyes register the littlest teeny weeny little bit of light, my brain goes. You know what I mean? I don't know why. I don't know why I'm like that. I don't know why. Just a littlest. I mean, the sun ain't even all the way up. Well, it's getting there now, but when I first woke up, the sun wasn't even all the way up. I just saw it it was just creeping up over the mountains, and you could barely see. It was just a little bit lighter than it's supposed to be nighttime, you know? As soon as my eyes see that, there goes the alarm in my brain. Time to get up, you know. Anyway, ugh. And the rest of my brain was like, no, let's go back to bed. So anyway, how y'all doing this morning? How y'all doing? Getting a little toasty in here. Oh, oh, I got the gym early today. Got the gym early today. When one of the kiddos got a doctor's appointment. So I got an early gym day today. Man, I'm kind of not. I mean, I always look forward to going to the gym, but it takes all my energy for some strange reason. For some weird reason, when I go to the gym in the evenings, it pumps me up and gets me fired up for the rest of the evening. When I go to the gym in the mornings, it drains me and I don't feel like doing nothing the rest of the day, you know? I don't know why. Don't know why I'm like that. Wish you could pop up in the morning. Well, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, it's not easy. It's not like I wanted to pop up this morning. There's this part of me that does. The conscious mind. My conscious mind is there's something inside of me that as soon as I register that it's light, I don't know what it is. It pops up. That's the way I was raised. When I was a teenager, on the other hand, I wasn't that. I liked it when I was a teenager and I was getting high all the time and I was out partying and drinking and doing drugs and shit. I'd sleep in till 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. And my grandpa would always say, well, half the day is gone. The day is almost over now. And that never made any sense to me. I'd be like, what are you talking about? It's still morning. I get it now. I get it now. It didn't make sense when I was a teenager. My kids are like that too, though. Thank God. When I go and wake them up, when it's time for them to get up, I'll just go and kind of tickle their head a little bit, and then they'll snap their eyes up and they pop right up. They get that from me. I was like that when I was a little kid and it was time to get up to go to school. My grandma would come in and wake me up and I'd just pop right up. And, it makes it take too long in the morning. People that hit the snooze button, it takes too fucking long and it drags the morning out and it just fucks the whole day up. It just sets the whole day. What you do first thing in the morning has a strong influence on what kind of day you're going to have. So anytime I've ever even tried that, like, let me hit the snooze button, it just ruins the whole day. Anyway, yes, quiet time is important in the morning, isn't it? It is. This is my favorite time of the day. Well, one of my favorite times. I don't know. Whenever the sun gets high in the sky and it's time to hustle bustle and get down to business, then it's crunch time. But here in the morning, when I get up for the first thing in the morning and I'm either on here doing this, or I'm just sitting around waking up playing on my phone or something, playing on the internet, something. It's one of my favorite times of the day. One of my favorite times of the day because I ain't got to do nothing. I mean, I do got a personal reading that's due. What time is it? About 4 hours. So I can get that done. I got enough time to wake up before I do that, though. But Anyway, well, actually, I don't really feel like I have that much on my mind anymore. Not really. Not really. I mean, that's kind of, I don't know how to explain it, but not really. My mind doesn't drive me nearly as crazy as it used to. Not really. I used to be a fucking psycho nutcase. I used to be a nutcase, man. But like I always tell everybody, and I seriously think that there's a lot of you out there that could relate to this. This is why I tell things about myself. Because every time I say something about myself that I've learned, somebody always relates to it and they say it helps them. That's why I do that. But my head didn't start leveling out until I began spiritually awakening. You know, it's my I it's something that like runs in my family, I think. And it's really, really strong on my dad's side of the family. You know, they're extremely mentally unstable. hmm Mental mental illness runs in my family big time. You know, and it's not like, well, I mean, any mental issue can be good or bad depending on how it's focused, but there's just this thing that runs like mainly on my dad's side of the family with especially the majority of the men in my family where they're really, really hyper tuned in and intelligent, but they can't figure out what they're tuned into, and they end up not focusing that hyper intelligence in the right direction. They focus it in the wrong direction, and it leads them down a bad path, a really bad path. You know, a really bad path. And they can end up doing really bad things, being really making really bad decisions and whatnot, you know. And I was very much on that same path. Very much. It affected me too. It's got my brother, man, boy, poor guy, man. I don't know. Every time I talk to him, it's like, nope, I can't even communicate with you yet. Nope. I'll hit him up every once in a blue moon. I don't know him very well. I wasn't raised with him, you know. I was taken away from my parents. Me and my sister were taken away from our parents and raised by my mom's parents, my grandparents. And then my real mom and dad moved down to North Carolina and had my brother. And I didn't even meet him until I was like 9 or 10, you know? So I don't really know him that well. He is my full blood brother, you know, same mom, same dad, but I wasn't raised with him and I don't know him very well. And we are two completely different fucking people. Two, dude, we're from two totally different universes. You know what I mean? And every once in a blue moon, I'll try to hit him up and see if we are ever going to establish some ability to communicate. And every time I do that, it's like, nope, I can't even communicate with you yet. There's no way I could even send you a message because you wouldn't receive it, you know? So, but anyway, I trailed off. My bad. Anyway, it wasn't until I actually began spiritually awakening in my late 20s, before my head began to level out and go, "Ooh, okay, this reality makes sense. Okay, this makes sense. I get it now." You know, because at first it's like, man, fuck this place. What is wrong with this place? I don't belong here. There's something wrong with this whole system. Then when you begin to awaken, you start seeing things from what they really are. You're like, oh, right. I'm trapped in this fucking matrix, this stupid game. This is a game. Oh, okay. That makes sense now. And then that's when everything started to level out and I started to become, I don't want to say I became normal, but I became the closest thing to normal that I've ever been in my life, if that makes sense, you know? Makes sense, you know what I mean? Oh, man, my incense is all gone. Oh, here it is. Anyway, I'm babbling, y'all. I'm babbling. I'm babbling. What y'all up to? I don't want to make you bored. Don't want to make you bored. Hang on. I got to get the good vibes going. Got to get the incense going. Oh, I get incense and I got wax melts going in my little wax burner. It always smells really strong here in the home studio. I keep the door closed here, and she keeps the door closed in her office because the cats will come in here. Cats will come in here and fuck with shit. But whenever you open the door and walk in here, it'll smack you in the face. The smells that I have in here of the incense, and I got a wax burner right now. I have that like alpine forest scent. She hates that, and Leah does not like those smells. But this is my studio, so I do what I want in my studio, you know. So she won't let me burn any of those downstairs because she doesn't like them. I love them, so I burn them up here in the studio. You know that the pine, it smells like a real strong pine tree when you walk in here. I love that. I love that. It gets the vibes real peaceful and seemingly nature, you know. But anyway, oh, that's a good question, Trace. How do you know if black magic is being thrown at you? Well, well, let's see here. I mean, there's no real blanket that covers every person in every situation. But I'll tell you my story. I'll tell you my story. Um, it was being done. There were people doing it to me and Leah to try to break us up. There were really, really nasty, nasty, toxic, disgusting people that were trying to break me and Leah up, and they were energetically attacking us. And after a while, it was almost like on the same day, we looked at each other and we were like, at the same time, we both had the same thought at the same time. Are we being energetically attacked? And we just thought, like, you know, and I was thinking the same thing. That's weird that you said that. I wasn't even going to say nothing, you know? And then we asked two different personal psychics, one that she knows and one that I know. These people don't even know each other. Don't even know each other. They've never even met. And they both said the same thing. Yes. Yes, you do. You have somebody throwing negative energy at both of you to try to break the two of you up. You know, and you're like, oh, two different psychics. Two different psychics. These two people didn't know each other. One was somebody that she knew personally, and one was somebody I knew personally, you know? So they both said the same thing. They both came back with, yes, yes, you got people throwing negative black magic at you to try to break you all up, you know? And we're like, oh, okay. Right on. Well, you know, the way that I think, the way my mind works is every obstacle I have is an opportunity. Any obstacle that I face is an opportunity for growth and learning. I was like, ooh, okay, this is going to be fun. This is going to be cool. Hang on a second. I'm going to turn my fan on. Hold up. So, yeah, I'm like, okay, this is a good opportunity for me to learn. Every time, I don't care what it is that happens. I don't care anything bad that happens. I view as an opportunity for me to learn so I can help other people or just learn for whatever reason. So that's when I started really looking at how to identify it. And again, it's very, very, I've never, of all the people that I've talked to and the stories that I've heard, it's different for everybody. It's different for everybody. But I can tell you my experience. I can tell you my experience. For me, it got pretty easy to identify. It got pretty easy to identify because it's, how am I going to explain it? Hang on. It's like something overtakes you and you don't even realize it. By the time you realize it, it's already climbed up in your mind and is driving you nuts and driving you crazy. And you're in this fucking crazy, weird mood that you don't even, it didn't, like, nothing bad happened. You're just in this really crazy, weird, fucked up, angry mood that's like not your normal character. It's not normally you, but you don't realize it at first until it's already overtaken you and is driving you crazy, you know? And that's the best way that I can think to describe it. That's the best way that I can think to describe it. So over the years, over the past couple of years, hasn't happened in forever. Or if it has happened, I'm just so good at it. I started getting real good, and she started getting real good at identifying it. Soon as we would feel it creeping up, we would catch it, you know, because it's sneaky. It slides up underneath of your conscious awareness, slides up underneath of your conscious mind, and just overtakes your conscious mind from underneath, you know. And then the more in tune you start getting with your subconscious mind, the easier it is to identify. And oh, I feel it. I feel it is an energy attack. Okay. So now, though, like I said, if it still happens, it hasn't worked in a long time. because we both got so fucking good at catching it. So good at catching it. We would catch it before it would even climb up and start making something crazy happen. So that started, oh shit, long time ago. Fuck. Almost, hang on. Coming up on 3 years ago. Damn, dude. Damn, that was a while ago. But anyway, yeah. I think it's different for everybody. But mainly you'll just start noticing that you're not being yourself. I think you'll start noticing you're not being yourself. If you got to get to know yourself. That's another big thing too. It's another big thing. You got to get to know yourself. You got to know thyself, know how your mind works, know how your emotions work. A lot of people out there that don't even know themselves. So if you're not very in tune with yourself and how you think and how you operate and whatnot, then it might overtake you and completely destroy your life. And you may never even catch it. Don't worry though. Don't worry, because whoever's doing it will eventually end up suffering consequences that are 3 times worse than anything they ever imagined throwing at you. And that's just a fact, period. So that's the part about it, is whoever it is that's doing it. Typically though, when somebody resorts to something like that, they're too mentally fucked up to be able to comprehend that what they're doing is wrong. They're too selfish. They're too self-centered. They just don't have the brains to comprehend that what I'm doing is going to end up hurting me worse than it'll hurt you. But yeah, you always want to catch it and send it back. Catch it and send it back. Catch it and send it back. And you have to learn how to identify it first, though. So that's what we would always do. Catch it. And like I said last night on my video, I do not accept this energetic attack. This is not my energy. I have no use for it. This energy is not welcome here. I am returning it back to whoever sent it to me with love and light. And anymore, I don't even really have to say that too many times. I can say it 2 or 3 times and bam, it's gone. It's gone, Where does it go? I don't know. I don't really care. Who's doing it? I don't know. I don't really care. It doesn't matter who's doing it. I'm not sending it back in anger, because I'm sure that whoever's doing it is probably so fucking miserable and so pathetic, and their life sucks so fucking bad that they have nothing better to do. That, like, I don't even have the time to sit around and think about somebody that would do something like that. Just think about who would do something like that. You got to be real pathetic. Real fucking pathetic, and your life has to suck so much ass, that it's not even worth thinking about who's doing it, So don't worry about that, and don't let it swallow you up in anger. Don't get all mad and pissed off about it. See what I'm saying? So anyway, yeah, I know. See, there it goes, hiding comments again. Hang on. Yeah. Yeah, that's why I say I always look at it as a good thing. Well, you see, TJ Nichols, that is what I call the success mentality. That's the success mentality. Okay. If you have a success mentality, nobody can fuck with you. Nobody can. Somebody can only throw shade at you and hurt you if you have a failures mentality. Okay. Because yes, when you have the success mentality, when you have your perception is focused on success, any obstacle that gets in your way is an opportunity to grow and learn. Period. That's all there is to it. Period. End of discussion, So yeah, that's right. Absolutely. It does. And it makes you stronger, makes you better, makes you wiser. Absolutely. Absolutely, positively. That's the success mentality. That's the epitome of it. That's the definition of it right there. Absolutely. So anyway. Anywho. Oh, what y'all up to, man? Oh, I gotta get stretched out and good for the gym. Oh. Well, you'll get there eventually. The only person that can get you there is you. You'll get there eventually. It's a way of perceiving things. Took me going to rock bottom to start perceiving things like that, you know? Took me being at rock bottom. Because when you're at rock bottom, what else do you have? You know? What else do you have? You have nothing but all the mistakes you've made. You have nothing but obstacles in your way. That's it. And when you're at rock bottom, you have no choice. Either overcome these obstacles or just stay here at rock bottom until I die, you know? And I would, don't quote me on this, but I would feel very safe betting that the vast majority of people that end up at rock bottom adapt that mentality of I have no choice but to figure out how to overcome these obstacles. You know, I'm not going to let myself die over an obstacle, you know? Could be wrong. I could be wrong. Because like I said, I have known many people die at rock bottom because they get addicted to it and they stay there. But anyway. Anywho. Oh. So y'all got good plans for the day? What are you planning for Enchanted Cottage? You all got good plans today? Today's Monday. I don't really have any. My daughter has a doctor's appointment. I have one reading that I know of that has to be done this morning. One that I know of. I'll have to wait till Leah wakes up and see if she goes and prints them out for me. But other than that, though, I'm just the same old boring me, man. I want to just cuddle up and go back to bed. I want to cuddle up and go back to bed, man. I can't do that. I can't do that. Well, I've known people who they get addicted to rock bottom because it works. Because it works, you know. I have a cousin, for example. I have a family member who's addicted to rock bottom because it works. Boo hoo, poor me, poor pitiful me. Get people to feel sorry for you so they'll do stuff for you, you know. Poor me, I'm homeless. Boo hoo me, poor me. Everything's so boo hoo me. Poor me, I'm homeless, you know, and it works. It works until they get to know you. And then they find out how fucking toxic you are and they kick you out of your, they don't want anything to do with you no more. But they just make their rounds, make their way around, you know, living off of other people's sympathy. And it's easy. It's easy. It's easy to stay at rock bottom. It's easy. It takes a lazy fuck, you know. It's easy to just sit there at rock bottom and say, all right, well, this is where I am. Yep, overcome. Getting to the top of that mountain, that's work, man. I don't feel like doing all that. And you know where the work is? You know where all the obstacles are, right? They're in your own mind. They're in your own mind. That's where all the obstacles really are. They're in your mind. It all has to do with your perception. Everything. This entire life. That's manifestation 101, period. One of the very first lessons that I learned when I attended the mind mastery school the classes that I took was everything is perception. Everything. Everything. You do not see the world as it is. You see it as you are. Period. End of discussion. There is no exception to that. There is no way around that. It's all in your perception. So these people at rock bottom are too lazy to work on themselves. They're too lazy to work on their own mind. Because it's hard, man. It's not easy. I'm not here saying it's easy. But just because something's not easy doesn't mean it's not possible. You know? So at the end of the day, you go in and if that's between you and the universe, dude. That's between you and the universe. If you would rather stay at rock bottom than change your belief systems, then that's you. That's your choice. To me, it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it. You know, I'm thankful for the experience. I would never go back and change anything in my story. I love those memories of being under the bridge, hanging out with the homeless people, living in the woods, diving in dumpsters to try to find sandwiches to eat something, you know, drinking a gallon of vodka a day. I look back on those sometimes and I'm like, man, that's so cool that I went from that to here, you know, and ain't nothing special about me, y'all. I think that's the biggest thing that the biggest message that I could get out there is there's nothing special about me. Nothing special about me. I'm not smarter than you. I'm not better than you. I'm not more gifted than you. Nothing special about me. I just happen to hear some people say some things and thought, whoa, is that true? Is that real? I told you all about Terry Rose yesterday. And then the second person that came along, like I said, was Bob Proctor. Bob Proctor really started helping me a lot more. And then, but by the time I stumbled upon Dr. Joe Dispenza, because Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about how you rewrite your own brain. Are you kidding me? Somebody like me that has a history of mental illness, the system has been convincing me that I'm a victim of my own brain. The system has been convincing me that I have no power or no control over what happens in my brain, that I'm a victim of the things that happen in my own brain. Are you mean to tell me that I have the ability to completely rewrite my own fucking brain chemistry with thought control and thought alone? Well, you know what? I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it. We'll see. We'll see. I don't want to speak an opinion unless I have experience. That's another big thing about me. Big thing. I'm real big on that. It's very rare. I can't even think. I'm not going to say it never happens because I'm a human. I'm flawed too, but I can't think of any time that I speak opinions that I don't have experience. So if I'm going to speak an opinion or if I'm going to debate something, I want experience, hands-on experience with whatever I'm debating or with whatever my opinion is, So, all right, let's see if this is true. I'm going to try it. I'm going to dedicate this whole fucking year to thinking differently. I'm going to dedicate this whole year to looking at the world and looking at life differently. That's what I'm going to do. I was just telling y'all the other day, I'm not a social person. I'm not social. Can't stand fucking talking to strangers. I can't stand random small talk with somebody that I don't know, that doesn't know who I am or none of that. I can't stand that. So you know what my job is? You know what my responsibility is? To go be around people and talk to strangers and go put myself in that uncomfortable situation. That's my job now. That's what I got to do. Every opportunity I see, every time I see an opportunity, I'll carry on a random conversation with a stranger. And it feels fucking weird and uncomfortable. But you know what? That's the only way I'm going to be able to unwire that way of thinking in my brain is if I keep doing it over and over and over and over and over. Anything. It doesn't matter what it is. Anything that you do over and over and over and over will begin to rewrite your way of thinking. It'll begin to unwire the old way of thinking and rewire a new way of thinking. And when I say literally, I mean they can scan your brain and they can prove it. They can look at the connections in the brain and see them being unwired and rewired. Yes, they can. Yeah. I forget my landing point there. I forget my landing point. But this is the reason why we do these talks in the mornings, at least for me. At least for me. It gets me thinking. It gets me motivated. It gets me, This is why I like doing this, man. This is why I like doing this. I try to be that guy that I wish I had when I was on my path. When I was on my path, I was just so fucking lost, man. So fucking lost and so desperately listening to anything that anybody had to say about spiritually awakening, about manifestation, anything. I was desperately searching for that one person to say that one thing, and it made it click. And I never really found that, honestly. Not really. It was kind of like a big pile of different concepts that I had to live through and experience. But anyway, I always told myself, if I ever get the chance, I'm going to be that guy that I was looking for. That's the reason I do this. That's the reason I do this. Is because there's got to be somebody out there on the same path that I was on. That if I had somebody that was like going live every morning and talking about these kinds of things, man, that would motivate the shit out of me. I'd be like, yeah, I'm ready to go tackle this day, So anyway, how y'all doing? Thank you all. Those of you who are just now tuning in, I've been on here for about a half hour now. For those of you new to this channel, I usually like to keep it at about an hour. I don't know why. No particular reason. I like an hour long video. That's anything over an hour. See, here's the thing about social media, and it's getting real bad now. Social media programs you to have a real short attention span. With like TikTok and the reels and shit, it programs you to have a real short attention span. You can't focus on anything for very long, you know? So that's one good thing that we still have YouTube, because YouTube is a totally different universe than like Facebook and Instagram. Instagram won't even let you well, they do now. They do now. They just changed that. But for the longest, Instagram wouldn't even let you upload a video that was longer than a minute, you know? They've changed that though recently here, but social media very much programs you to have a very short attention span so that you can't focus on anything, We can't do that. You got to have focus. You got to be able to focus. Got to be able to focus. So anyway. Oh, you like my attitude, Tanya? Okay, I appreciate it. I'm one of those. Hey, you either like it or you hate it. You either love it or you hate it, man. I'm one of those. I'm that type of person who kind of, sort of like David Goggins, who you, in order to like my attitude, you have to really be in a place in life where you're ready to make something happen. Because if you're stuck in that failures mentality, you're going to hate me. You're going to hate me. Mm-hmm. That's how you can tell. That's the thing that I can tell. Like if you're in that failures mentality, if you're in that victims mentality, if you're in that mentality of manifesting bad things in your life, you're going to hate me. You're going to fucking hate anything that I have to say, because it challenges your belief systems. It'll challenge you to take those walls down from around your mind, And unless you're at a place in life where you're ready, man, I'm ready. I don't give a fuck. I'm ready to do whatever it takes, then that's the type of people that like my attitude, because I'm not here to piss anybody off. I'm not here to offend anybody. I'm not here to make anybody angry. I'm really not. I'm here to help people. I'm a king of swords. And speaking of David Goggins, I don't know if y'all know who he is. He's an Aquarius too, with a Taurus moon. He's an Aquarius with a Taurus moon. I don't know if we have any Goggins fans in here. I'm a huge Goggins fan, man. Big time. Huge. But he's an Aquarius with a Taurus moon. You can tell, man. He's an ultra athlete. He can run them like 200-mile fucking marathons, run 250 miles on broken feet. He's they say the toughest man on the planet. Ex-Navy SEAL, retired Navy SEAL. Yeah, he is awesome. He's awesome, man. He's a huge inspiration to me. Huge. At least on my fitness journey. And he's an Aquarius too, and he has a Taurus moon, and you can tell. I can tell that is so like duh, very very fixed, very very stubborn. I'm an Aquarius with a Virgo moon, but anyway, I kind of feel like that's most Aquarians, honestly, but I'm very much similar in the aspect that you're only going to like me. I'm the type of person you will only like me if you're ready to change your life. You'll only like me if you're ready to change your life. If you're not ready to change your life and you're still making excuses, or you're still, wrapped up in your own thoughts, manifesting bullshit for yourself in your life, and you're still convinced that it's the outside world's problem, and you're still pointing fingers at everybody else and not willing to take accountability for what you manifest into your own life, you're going to hate me. And there's lots of people out there that do. Lots of people out there that do. But I don't care. I'm not talking to them. I'm talking to the people who are ready to like actually make a change. I'm tired of being here in life. I'm tired of these same kinds of experiences and attracting these same kinds of people into my life. Tired of it, man. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I don't care what it takes. I'm willing to let go of my identity. That's what it is. That's what it is. You have to be willing to let go of your identity. Who you think you are as a person, your beliefs, your opinions, your thought and emotional patterns, your feelings, like pretty much that makes up me. That's me. That's who I am. Well, that who you are obviously needs to change. That identity has to go. Like Dr. Joe Dispenza says, everybody wants to create a new personal reality as the same personality, and it doesn't work. You literally have to become someone else. You literally have to let go of that old identity. You literally have to stop looking at love, money, the world, society, life in general. You have to stop looking at it the way you look at it. Take that old lens off and put on a new lens, you know? But anyway, anywho, hang on, what? Well, to me, what I do, I primarily specialize in the behavior of energy, in the behavior of energy. So when it comes to astrology and all these little boxes people like to put things in, I'm not really, I mean, it's hard to say because obviously if you're looking at energies, things are going to be boxed up. But the way I look at it, and here's a good example, you know, like that 13th zodiac sign thing. You know, I've recently heard some really good debates from some people who have looked up in the sky and said, yo, it's not what's really happening up there is not what they're telling you, you know? And what I came up with is this. I don't give a damn what name you want to call a sign. You know, like we have these 12 boxes. And if you have a strong influence of one of these energies in this box, it's going to influence you this way, you know, Aquarius energy or whatever name you want to give it. It's just simply an energy that affects you a certain way. I don't care if you want to call it Aries. I don't care if I don't give a damn what you want to call it, what name you want to give it. You know, there's certain energies that affect people certain ways, that influence people in certain ways, you know, and I just use the names of the astrological signs as like a reference point, to understand the behavior of that energy, to understand what energies you're dealing with as a person, you know? I hope that makes sense. I haven't really, I have thought how to try to explain that a couple of times, but I don't care if there's a 13th zodiac sign. I don't care if there's 25 zodiac signs. All I'm looking at is energies and how they influence people, you know? Makes sense? And from everything that I've seen, I know that we create what we focus on. But from everything that I've seen, I'm really rusty. I haven't done it in a long time, but especially right around the time that I started reading tarot cards for a living. Once you start doing something for a living, you get kind of tired of it, you know. People that work at Pizza Hut for a living, they get sick and tired of eating pizza, you know. But at one point in time, I could guess your sun and your moon sign, and sometimes your rising sign. I could guess it, and I would do it just for fun, just for fun. I'd go get a job somewhere, and just for giggles and shits, my closest coworker. Oh, okay. I'm going to be working with you every single day. All right. I'm going to figure out your zodiac sign. I'm going to dedicate the next 3 months to figuring out what your sign is. And I would do that just to keep myself entertained and occupied. For the next 3 months, I would observe this person. And then, you know, one day it's like, oh, okay. That feels like Aries energy. Okay, well, I'm going to take that possibility and set it over here. And then I'll run through all the, well, I don't know. Now you're kind of starting to feel like a Virgo a little bit. I'm going to take that and set that over here. And then I would run back and forth. Okay, you're definitely not a fucking Pisces. You're definitely not a Cancer. You're definitely not an Aquarius or a Scorpio. You know, and I would start doing process of elimination. And then at the end of it, I'd be like, all right, okay, so I've got two things. You're either an Aries, or a Virgo. Which one is it? And then I'd be like, all right, I'm done. After about 3 months, I'd be like, all right, I'm done. I've run through it all. I've sat and watched you on a deep level long enough. And then I would interject into the conversation. So, what's your birthday? You know, I would sneak that into the conversation just so they would say what their birthday is. And then about 95 to 98% of the time, I'd hit it right on the money. And if I wasn't right, if I didn't, I would sneak in like how to like what day, what year, how old are you? How old are you turning? Somehow so that I could go home and look up and figure out what their moon sign is. And every time, if I didn't get their sun sign right, it was their moon sign. It was their moon, you know? So, and I would just do this kind of shit just for shits and giggles, just to keep myself occupied. You know, so yeah. There was this one, and I'll never forget that this happened to one of the last people I did this to. I met this dude, and I've told you all this before, but the very first sign that I ever like obsessively became obsessed with to the point to where I studied it to a science was the sign of Cancer. The sign of Cancer was what really, really got me into this, you know. So it's to the point now where I can smell Cancer energy on you. I mean, it's just so obvious that watery Cancerian energy. It's just, to me, is the most obvious, probably because I spent so much time focusing on it, you know. But and I could have swore I would have been willing to bet anything, the clothes on my back, that this dude was a Cancer. Turned out he was an Aquarius. And I was like, nuh-uh. Ain't no fucking way. So I went and looked it up. His moon was Cancer. And that shit would happen all the time. All the time. All the time, you know? So anyway. Anywho. Yeah. Heightened senses to the energies. Yeah. I mean, you got to focus on it. You got to focus on it. Don't focus so much on this. There's a lot of things that we've been trained and programmed to focus on that distract us from those things, you know? And I don't know if it's just me being a volunteer starseed or what, but it's it has always been very difficult, very, very difficult to distract me with any thing in this matrix game and be able to convince me that it's really important enough to distract me from other things, you know? Very difficult. Very difficult. I'm not saying that they've never succeeded, but it's been very, very difficult. You know, you gotta pay attention to these kind of things, man. Don't get distracted by the games that the other humans are playing and all these, you know what I'm saying? It makes sense, man. That's the only way I can think to describe it. Well, you know what, Leandro, you very well may end up being able to be one of those people that reconfigures the perspective of Geminis, you know. Maybe one of these days you could be a really successful public figure, you know, and you could be one of those Geminis that teaches other Geminis how to handle that energy, you know. It's possible. It's possible. It's possible, you know, because every energy, if utilized properly, can be very helpful. And every energy, if utilized improperly, can be very, very toxic. Doesn't matter what energy it is. And Gemini is one that it seems like people struggle with it a lot. Seems like people struggle with it a lot because I have a daughter that's Gemini. She's double Gemini, you know, and I still struggle with that one. You know, but anyway, I still struggle with that one, you know, but I don't know. The first one that I struggled with was Cancer. That was the first one, you know. And then once I really began figuring out why I was struggling with it, then I started to actually meet and attract more actual high vibrational Cancerians into my life, you know. People who, because like I said, every energy can be used or misused. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter what it is. And once you become very familiar with your energies, that's when you can figure out how to use them for the greater good. See what I'm saying? Anyway. Well, if you know that you have something special to do, just wait for the right time. The universe will bring it to you at the right time. The universe will bring it to you at the right time. Mm-hmm. Yep. Just don't. I think one of the things that gets us running around in circles is we're constantly trying to figure out what to do. One question that people come to me and ask me all the time is, what is my purpose? What am I supposed to be doing? And here's why that's a big problem. Here's why that's a real big problem. Like, what is my calling? What am I supposed to be doing? Here's the problem. First of all, I haven't even really figured out how to flip that switch on in me, the psychic switch. It gets flipped on. It's like the other side uses my psychic abilities when it wants to. I haven't figured out how to flip it on command. But let's say that I could flip it on command and I could see what it is your calling is. If I told you, you wouldn't do it. If I told you, see what I'm saying? If I told you what it is you're supposed to be doing, you would probably say, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life, and you wouldn't do it. If it was something that you could figure out that easily, you would have been doing it a long time ago. If you went back in time 5 years ago and you handed me a deck of tarot cards and you said, Rich, dude, you need to learn these cards, man. You need to learn how to read these things. You have no idea what it is that you're supposed to be doing or whatever. I would have said, fuck that. I ain't doing that. Ain't no way. I am not doing that. I would have sabotaged the path. What we have to do is we have to figure out how to get on the frequency, how to get on the path. You know, it makes sense. And the universe will bring it to you when you're on the frequency, when you're on the path, and when the time is right. And it'll be something that more than likely, and this isn't just me. Okay, this isn't just me. Anybody who has ever had to go from like being at a rock bottom to finding their calling will tell you some rendition of the same story. It was what I least expected. When I stopped looking for it, when I just got in tune with myself and start, you know what I mean? It's always the same thing. Man, you know what? I was just tuned into myself. I was just doing what makes me happy. I was an accident. You know how many real big famous musicians and artists and whatnot, they'll tell you. I was just doing it as a hobby, something to fill, my spare time, You got to be able to train yourself to follow that fire and follow that passion. Most people, you ask them, well, what are you even passionate about? Your average person will say, I don't know. Because we've been so conditioned and programmed, money, 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 money. We've been so brainwashed into chasing money, into thinking that money is what we need to fix all of our problems, that we have completely ignored our passion. We've been stomping that flame out just to chase money. But whenever we can train ourselves to say, no, to do the opposite. Fuck money. I don't care about money. I care about lighting my soul on fire. And whenever you train yourself, it's a training process. You have to train your own mind to begin following your fire and your passion. That's when money will start chasing you. That's when money will start chasing you. Because when you dump enough passion into anything, that's worth money. I don't care what it is. But again, most people don't even know what they're passionate about. They've never even given themselves a chance. They see something that kind of starts to spark that little fire in their heart, and they say, I don't have time for that. No, that's silly. No, maybe one of these days when I have the time, or maybe one of these days. You know what I mean? No, you need to reverse that attitude. I know I always use the same examples, but just as an example, say you've always wanted to learn how to make candles. I know I've said this a million times, but it's a perfect example. I've always wanted to learn how to make candles, but one of these days, when I have time. No, you take your ass to the craft store, you buy your wax, your wicks, your scents, your boiling pots, your temperature gun. You come home, pull up YouTube, how to make candles at home. And you start watching videos and you start making fucking candles. You do it right now. That does not mean you're going to be a multi-million-dollar candle maker. What it means is you're training yourself that when you feel that little flame, something that you're passionate about, you go for it. You do it. You give yourself permission. Who gives a fuck what anybody has to say? Yes, there's probably going to be some people that judge you and say, that's kind of stupid. Fuck them. Who cares? Who gives a shit what they have to say? It doesn't matter. Okay, well then don't do it. If you think it's stupid, then don't do it. You go do what you think is important, and I'll do what I think is important. Simple as that. Simple as that. Like your opinion of what I'm doing, that doesn't pay my bills. The type of life you think I'm supposed to be living, that doesn't pay my bills. You know what I mean? So you go do what you think is important, and you come back and you show me why your life is so great. You go do that. And then whenever you build this utopian life that's so perfect and so great, you come back to me and you share with me why I should be doing what you think I should be doing. See what I'm saying? Your average person, you will never, ever, ever be criticized by somebody who's doing better than you. You know, you'll never be judged by somebody who's doing better than you. So, see what I'm saying? Don't worry about what anybody else thinks about what you're doing, you know, because those types of people, they ain't got their ducks in a row either. The most judgmental people out there are the people living the most miserable lives, honestly, you know? So anyway, you train yourself to start following those little passions. And then let's say you start figuring out how to make candles and you're like, okay, I'm over that. Okay, not interested in that anymore. Okay, cool. Now feel for it again. Feel for it again. What else lights that little fire in here? You know? Well, I've kind of always wanted to learn how to paint. Okay, again, how to learn how to paint. Look up videos on YouTube about painting, you know, or about what kind of paint to use or what kind of brush to use or whatever. Okay, and then you start doing research. Go out and buy the shit. Listen to interviews of famous artists and start thinking. See what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Make sense at all? Like it's a way. You just have to train yourself to follow your passion and stop following money. Okay? Because if you chase money, money will run from you. But when you chase your fire, money will chase you. Now, again, here's the slippery slope. For those of you who are in the know, you know that we are heading into a world where the financial system does not function at all like it has in the past. So how that's going to play in, well, actually, money is going to be pointless anyway. You're going to be left with no choice. Because if they flip that switch on tomorrow and you have no idea what you're passionate about, if they was to flip that switch on and every single person on this planet was to have $1 million in the bank, and you don't know what you're passionate about, and you don't have to work, you don't have to worry about your bills getting paid, you don't have to worry about putting food on the table, all those worries and all those other things that motivated you to get up and do something, all those are taken care of, and you have no clue what you're passionate about, you're going to go nuts. It's going to drive you completely fucking insane. It's going to drive you completely insane. You're going to go, I'm telling you, turn into an alcoholic, turn into a drug addict, turn into a gambler. You know, like it's very important to figure out what you're passionate about. Because one of these days, those worries are not even going to be. One of these days, money is going to be so fucking irrelevant. And that day is coming a lot sooner than you think. It's going to be so irrelevant that if you don't know what you're passionate about, you're going to go crazy. You're going to lose your mind. You know what I mean? Dig what I'm saying? Anyway. No, I don't know how hard it is to be a Pisces sun with a Virgo moon. Because I'm an Aquarius with a Virgo moon. I don't know. Opposite signs are kind of fascinating. I've met a few people like that. Aquarius with a Leo moon, Aries with a Libra moon. Well, when you think opposite, think mirror image reflection. Mirror image reflection. So it's like having both sides of the pie. If anything, it's just one whole complete picture. Take those two puzzle pieces and put them together because they're reflections of each other. Know what I mean? Know what I mean, Vern? Anyway, though, y'all, it is about time for me to hop off of here. I got to go get the kiddos up and get them ready for school. I hope we touched on something that at least one person needed to hear today. Again, that's the primary goal for why I get on here and do this. And yes, it helps me get up and get pumped and ready for the day. Anyway, I'm probably going to be doing the weekly forecast. Okay, so be on the lookout for that. But other than that, thank you all for tuning in and listening to me run my mouth. Y'all enjoy the rest of your day.